Stitch Along Friday.
Yes.
You know, I still have a little bit of trouble with that stitch along thing after saying Facebook Friday for so long. And also, it's not alliterative, you know?
Yes.
It's like not the same letter.
That's true.
Fabulous Friday.
Freaky Friday?
We are pretty freaky. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. I know that you'll be coming in soon.
Mm-hmm.
So far, we have 0 viewers.
Oh, 2 viewers.
Oh, gosh, you guys are so fast.
Thank goodness. We're not talking to ourselves.
It always, actually, you know, I've tried doing videos, not to myself. I'm trying to talk to people, but actually do the video before you have it seen. And it's not the same at all as if you're live.
Yes.
You know, live is like live, then you're actually talking to someone.
Definitely.
Anyway, there's Loretta.
Yeah. Good morning, Loretta. Or good afternoon for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been up to this week, cutie?
I finally finished a project that I've been working on for 8 months.
What project could that be?
Well,
I know the project.
You know what the project is. And so it was nice to get it done.
I'll tell you what the project is, because she's not gonna. I know she's not. She's trying to keep it like mysterious or something.
It's not mysterious, but it was the finalization of sending out the pre-order accessory packs that we had received from shops at the end of June last year.
Can you believe it? We couldn't make the ones that were pre-ordered and prepaid for back last year in June when we said we are going to semi-retire. We got the orders then. That was fine. We were going to make them afterwards. And then we found out the supply chains had broken.
So it's taken all this time and finally get the last of it off.
And they're sitting on the counter out there. The postman is coming to pick them up. We're so thrilled because now our accessory pack manufacturing plant is closed. And that doesn't mean we may not make accessory packs, but only limited amounts. Not endless streams of accessory packs with all of the stuff that goes in each one. But we still have some materials left over. So we're going to make some act packs for some of our new designs coming out. And only for certain people. So, you know, when you're on the list, you'll get an act pack for that design.
That's true.
Isn't that going to be fun?
It'll be fun.
I've always wanted to do that, where it's literally a exclusive. Right? And I don't mean to like leave anybody out, but if you want to be in this group of people, you would basically join in our group, and then you get the pack. And I've always wanted to do it because from our point of view, not from you guys' point of view, but from our point of view, endlessly ordering for packs that we're not sure if anybody wants can get really kind of hairy. It's like inventory management plus.
And it was very time consuming.
Well, that too. All time consuming and a lot of work and everything. But it was like, oh my God, are we going to order more of these? Maybe they won't go this month, but they might go next month.
And then, you know, the ones you didn't order enough of sold out very quickly. So,
and then people are going, why don't you have that one?
So anyways, it's done.
And we did that for 25 years. 24 and a half years.
24 and a half years.
And so we want to say thank you to all of you who have bought accessory packs. Sorry that they're no longer available for most of you who are now excited about buying more. But unfortunately, we're no longer doing that. That's not our business anymore. But we're very excited to show you in this group how to change or find your own fibers and beads and, you know, change things up a little bit so that you can work with the materials you've got, number one, or buy some things at your local needlework stores or online, and they have all the materials that we've been using.
Definitely.
Right?
Most shops do. Some don't. But
and most materials, not all.
Yes.
But the majority of materials are being carried by needlework shops, especially in the U.S., I noticed. So you have to search a little bit, and we do have some favorite shops. We might just put a list of some of our favorite shops on our website. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because, you know, we don't want to put just one kind of shop there, because some shops carry some things, some shops carry other things, right? So maybe we'll ask people in the shops to give us permission to put their names on our shop list, and then, you know, we've never done that before.
No,
well, actually, we did that some years ago, didn't we? It was called a shop finder.
We had a shop finder, but, you know, not all, didn't work quite well. Sorry.
No, it didn't work so well, mainly because the shops would go in and out of business, and then we couldn't keep it up. But we can list some of the shops anyway, and I hope that they'll allow us to do so. So they can find some of the material. You can find some of their materials, and that will help a great deal for your collecting of materials instead of getting ACT packs. Do you remember when we first started ACT packing?
Oh, it was probably in the fall of '97.
Probably. You'd say that probably. I'd say for surely. I wouldn't have known. So Lisa knows. Anyway, the fall of '97,
Yeah.
That's so cute. I didn't know when we started, but I know it was a while ago. And I remember thinking, this is a nice idea for, what was it that we did it for? Child of the Spring.
Yeah, we started with the earlier ones, and they didn't have everything in them. They had the beads and some chronic braid.
Yes, and some overdyes.
And some overdyes.
And that's about it, right?
That's about it in the earlier ones.
The things that were harder to get.
That's right. And then we expanded and included basically everything.
Pretty much everything, except maybe pearl cotton that you'd buy separately.
Yes.
And that worked the best because people, like literally, shops were thrilled because they didn't have to carry all of these different materials we love using, or I love using.
Yeah.
So ACT packs have been part of my life for that long.
Yeah.
27 years.
I know.
Oh, sorry, 24 years.
24 and a half.
Anyway, you didn't know all this history of the Victoria Sanford, but we did just decide, and it kind of grew. People were so excited about them, and I didn't think that they were going to go. I thought that was a silly idea, but apparently it was something that everybody really enjoyed.
Yes, it was.
Lorraine, you're here. You're
morning,
up.
Lorraine.
I can't believe you're up.
And good
this
evening,
is so
Dory.
Good. And Dory is here.
Yeah, she hasn't been here for a while, so good to see you, Dory.
Well, Lorraine's been ill too, so she hasn't been able to join us because it's just the middle of the night for you, Lorraine.
Oh, that's right, exactly.
But now you're here. I'm so glad. And Dory, how's things over in Europe? Are you still in Europe?
Are you still in Europe?
Yes,
that's
exactly, because I'll be thinking of you if that's the case. Patricia right out. Hello. Terrible weather.
In Nova Scotia. Great stitching weather. Well, that's good.
You know what? I watched Nova Scotia news the other day because I watch The Curse of Oak Island.
Oh.
I watch it with my husband all the time, and it's almost like a cult series. You have to really be like involved.
Yeah.
But I love all the surroundings when they're driving around outside of the island, and they're driving around Nova Scotia. It's so pretty there. Thank you, Cynthia Tenney.
Yeah.
I did have a nice time. And she had a nice time too. She went with us to...
We went for Chinese food. I haven't had Chinese food for a long time. My favorite Chinese restaurant closed down for health reasons a few years ago.
Which is kind of scary.
It used to be a really good restaurant at one time. Unfortunately, new owners took over, but that's beside the point. Anyways, we went out for a delicious lunch.
Here in Sydney.
And it was probably, I think, the best Chinese food I ever had. It was really good.
Yeah, we buy their takeout once in a while, once a week maybe, once every 2 weeks. So they have really good fresh vegetables and stuff. So anybody who's around Sydney, go to the Harbor
Harbor City Chinese food or something like that.
Yeah. Tracy Emmett from Windy, England. Ooh, sounds like stitching weather.
Hola, Marley.
We love to have you come. Lynn Burton. Hello, ladies. We have the worst storm in 60 years in the UK at present, so we're all indoors. Oh, so that is something that a lot of people are probably indoors for. Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize that. We're having I'm sorry, but we're having lovely weather.
We're having lovely weather. Our winter was between Christmas and New Year's.
That's right.
Since then, it's been pretty good.
That's right. Exactly. Well, Lynn, hope you survive. Hope everyone in the UK particularly, but also in the Eastern Seaboard, that you guys do well. Cece, hello from Mexico. Alison Fowles from snowy Toronto, so it's really still snowing there. I hear Toronto was supposed to be up to 35 centimeters.
Wow.
Doesn't sound very good.
No, not at all. No.
Sandy, hello. Agnes, a good wet evening from Lithuania. So you've got that nice spring wet weather too, huh? And Norma, everyone from cold and snowy upstate New York. So everywhere it's cold except here. Look at windy Maryland even from Kathleen. Good morning, Pat. Jean Morrison is here from sunny and chilly
Atlanta?
Atlanta, AT?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Probably is.
Yep.
Is. And then Diane Murdersdorf is here from Windy,
Minnesota.
I guess so. I can't imagine that Minnesota would not be windy around the lakes at this time of the year. Becky Clayga, good morning. Look at those smiles.
And yeah, she does. She should say Atlanta.
Yeah. It's okay. We get, I mean, she's been in a travel agency, so she knows most of the states' abbreviations, right?
Yes, but Atlanta is a city in Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, here I am thinking that it's a state. Oh, nope. Boy. Yeah. You guys are going to really kill me now. Yeah. Christine Glantz, good morning. Carol Lamon is here. Hello.
Upstate New York. Snowy, snowy.
Sounds like you guys are really in for it. Mm-hmm. Donna Van Buxel is here from cold Ohio. And Ellen, hello. Good morning. Buonasera in Italia sono le 18 degrees.
No.
Oh.
6:38 p.m.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. No, that's funny. Okay.
Because it was 9:38 here, so.
So it must be 18:38 there.
6:38 p.m.
Yes. Thank you, Danciu. Jean Inglis is very cold, wet, and windy in Haddington. Oh, yes. Sounds like a good day to stitch. Sue Lynn is here from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Vicki Fisher, hello. I love to be in El Paso right now. I wonder if that's beautiful.
It's probably on the warmer side, hopefully, for you.
And it's like dry and sunny and beautiful. Oh, gosh. Tammy Thompson just finished shopping in a snow flurry.
Oh.
That sounds exciting. Are your kids with you, Tammy? Christine Glantz, we watched that also. Okay. Danciu says, oh, wait a minute. I have to look at the translation. Yesterday, hail in Rome, and today, gray. It's gone rain. Oh, well, we don't have rain here. We have sunshine and lollipops. Yeah. No rain.
No rain. Oh, Dory's back in the States, currently in Florida.
Oh, so you're not suffering that cold, windy weather in Czech. And also, this is a good time for you to be back in the States there, Dory. Corrine says, and what does Corrine say? It's been blowing hurricane force for most of the day, for most of hurricane force.
Wow.
Are you kidding? Wow.
Lots of trees down. Wow.
I think I still have a roof on the shed. Lost some roof, but oh goodness.
Well.
No, you don't usually get hurricanes. We'll cross our fingers for you.
Absolutely.
Stay safe, all of you in the UK.
Oh. Rita's in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, that sounds so nice. Rita, you're going to have to email me about Puerto Vallarta, okay? Because I have to go down south next winter. And I'm still sort of between San Diego and Miami. And there's another one, Panama, right? And there's a really nice place on the other side of Mexico called Playa del Carmen, which is supposed to be really nice. But I want to hear about Puerto Vallarta. So email me and tell me where you're staying. And then maybe I can stay there too one day. Okay, Rita? Betha Cruford. Good morning, ladies. Hope you are having a wonderful day.
So far, so good.
Francesca. Francesca, buonasera to you too. Yeah, so far we're doing fine.
Yep.
Marie Anique.
Hello.
Good evening. I love the new Stitch Along. Thank you. Here, storm and real embroidery weather. Bisous. Tammy Thompson says, my girls stayed home while I shopped.
Oh.
It's a teacher in service day. Oh, lucky you. It's so much nicer. I remember it was always so much nicer to go shopping peacefully without my kids.
Yes. Saying, Mom, can I have this? Mom, can I have that?
Exactly. I didn't have to do any of that. I would instead say, Tia, can I have this? Welcome all. I'm so glad you're all here. Dorothy Wendell. Oh, yes, my birthday was actually really nice. And I sure appreciate all your lovely compliments and comments. Those of you who commented in the group here, instead of on my personal page, there was a few that were doing a happy birthday singly, and they were kind of big in the discussion group. So I decided, I deleted those, even though I read them and I thanked them. I had to delete those, but then I left one from Patricia Lewis, was it? Anyway, I left that one so that many people could also wish me a happy birthday there. I hope you all understood. It wasn't to be mean, but
it was to group them together.
Yeah, because in our group, you can't just wish one person happy birthday over and over and over, because we're talking about stitching. But I sure appreciated all the good wishes. Really did, and I read every one. So thank you. And I also read a whole bunch on my personal page under Thea Duick. I think there was about 450 people or posts.
Wow.
And luckily on your personal page, Facebook lumps them together.
Oh, okay.
So they're not all over the place. Yep. That's exactly what I was trying to do in the group. But it does it automatically. It's so cool.
It puts them in as they come in between other things. So.
Yeah. So I guess they look for like the name birthday or the word birthday or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, I loved reading all of those wonderful messages. So thanks. That day, what did I do that day? I went shopping in the morning.
You went shopping. You got some good deals on some stuff.
I got this little blouse, which I love.
Very nice. You've had that sweater for a while.
Yeah, it's an old sweater. I had the blouse, and I bought a whole bunch of other little things. And it turned out that they had a 70 to 90% off sale, which I wasn't aware of when I just drifted in. The store I was going to was closed until 11. So anyway, I said, well, I probably can't fit into any of these because, I feel like they're going to be the wrong size. No. So I did find some things. And then I got to the counter. And the lady said, okay, so what's your name? Because she's going to put me on her email list or whatever. And she said, what's your birthday? So I told her, and she says, oh, well, you get another 10% off because it's your birthday. So that was a big, fun morning. I tried on stuff. That was really fun. And then we went out for
lunch,
Chinese restaurant meal for lunch. And then after that, I binge watched Netflix. Oh, I've been watching this one. I think I told you about it.
You did tell me, yeah.
It's called Inventing Anna. And I think many of you have probably seen it. It's one of the most popular Netflix series that they've ever done, and it's based on a real person. Also called Anna, and I've forgotten her Russian name. But anyway, it is mostly based on this actual real woman who I'd never heard of, but I certainly know enough about her now. And it's so engaging, and it was fun for both Richard and I. You know how sometimes these shows can be like for the guys or for the girls.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Anyway, so go watch it. It's really fun. Norma's looking like she's speaking Spanish. I didn't know that. I can't wait till spring. Or is that me that I just happened to... No, she's saying it in the original Italian. Yeah. Sorry, absolutely. I thought it was Spanish.
Yeah.
Norma, you're way better than I am. Good morning, Susan Hyde. Good morning, Carol, again. And Carol, oops, welcome. Okay. So that's great. That was my birthday, and I'm 73 years old. Very old.
No, not old at all.
It depends on whether I'm awake or not. When I'm awake, I can do most things. But I tell you, I can sleep a lot more lately.
I wish I could sleep a lot more.
Yeah, you didn't sleep very well last night, did you?
No. Oh. It could be what I ate yesterday, so,
Too much?
Too much probably of the same thing, yes. Yeah.
That's okay. You're going to be fine today.
I'll be fine, yes.
Just have another cup of tea.
I will have some tea, and I'll just sit quietly, and then about 3 o'clock I'm going to vacate.
Yeah, she's going to leave early. We have family weekend. So for Canadians, it's called Family Day, but the day is on Monday, so we have a long weekend. And you're going to take off until Tuesday.
I'm going to take off until Tuesday, and tomorrow I'm going to head up and see my mom. It's her birthday next week, so go and spend some time with my mom. And
your sister?
Yes, my sister and I will go up.
Nice. Yes. So take a trip up island, have a road trip with the girls.
Have a road trip with the girls. Hopefully the weather holds off, although it's supposed to be rainy, but that's okay.
I think you'll make it.
I think I'll make it, yes. I do have the M&S on my tires, so, that's always good.
And that's good for the
Yeah.
Malahat in case it snows, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and the hump going into my hometown where I grew up. So
Yeah, you always call
Yeah.
that the hump. It's a mountain.
it's a mountain, but it's called the hump for some reason. I don't know why it ever got that nickname, but that's what they call it.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Mhm.
Agnes says you're not old, you just have lots of experience. Way to go. That's exactly right.
How true.
So we have kind of like a technique of the week, but these are like knot techniques, KNOT techniques. And the reason that you actually can call them a technique is because you need some technique to do them
To
well.
do them, yes.
And isn't that the truth? I think that doing knots in needlework
Mhm.
can be really fun.
Yeah.
But can also be so annoying because
Absolutely.
you don't have the technique, and it takes a lot of practice.
It does take some practice and some patience and being in the right mindset. Like doing bullion knots. I've been working on a Grateful Heart. I've done 3 of the flowers with the inside bullion knots, and the other ones it's like, yeah, I'll do those another time.
Just not ready for those yet.
Just not ready for those. So,
Well, in this case, we're not going bullion yet.
okay.
Okay, we're not going bullion. We're just going to do French and colonial. And they are the ones that can be used for all sorts of reasons, particularly if you're making a lot of little flowers like I do.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yes.
They're everywhere throughout my designs, just everywhere. This is not a mystery technique at all. This is definitely something I love using. But you can use them interchangeably. You can use the French knot or the colonial knot.
That's true. Yes.
I think that some people prefer one over the other.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like both.
I kind of like both. Yeah.
I find that the French knot has a kind of a little whorl
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with one stitch kind of over
Absolutely.
top of one section of the whorl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then the colonial knot is kind of like a perfect little knot that sits flat and sits up a little bit like a three-dimensional rose.
Yeah.
So if you look really closely, if you've got good near vision, or look under your microscope, your magnifying glass,
Yes.
you'll see that the shapes are actually quite different. And the reason that you can make them for different parts of your stitching is not to make them even. They're not meant to be completely even because they're very often, when they're used as flowers are not even.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you want something really even and you want to count it so that it all looks perfect, use beads. I mean, seriously, you do not have to use these knots if you don't feel like it.
No.
Okay?
No.
So in the stitch along, you're going to find a few little flowers, and I would recommend you make them with either French knots or colonial knots, and make them not too big because they have to be kind of petite. If you're going to use beads instead, don't use the big size beads.
Yeah, use the petite beads.
Yeah, there is a bead that is sized 11, which is a regular size
Yeah.
bead. And then there are petite beads, which are size 18. So it's a good idea. If you've got any tiny petite beads, if you're going to use beads, use those.
Yeah.
Okay, in this section. Okay, Jean hasn't heard of a colonial knot. Oh, you're in for a treat.
Absolutely.
Let me just check here. Let me see.
Yeah, I think we had, go up a little bit more. Marty had, fell on the ice while skating with,
With granddaughter? Oh, no. Ooh.
Surgery. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
I am so sorry, Marty. I hope that you are going to be laid up for a few weeks healing. Maybe a little longer than that. Oh, I really feel for you. That must have, or still probably hurts like crazy. Hope you heal very fast. Do eat all the right things and lots of vitamin C for healing. Jean wants to wish you a happy family day.
Thanks, Jean.
Weekend.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Marty says having a lot of free time and you can't stitch. Watch the Netflix series. I tell you, it's really good. I mean, I even forgot about the fact that I could stitch. So maybe that'll help.
The other series, and it's not on Netflix, I've been watching, is that Gilded Age.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful costumes.
That's exactly right. Costume drama.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Mainly a costume drama.
Yeah.
I'm not so keen on the story, but I love the costumes.
Oh, the costumes are just... The other day she was going to the opera and she wore this beautiful red dress with a red cape that had little silver on it. Looked like it was embroidered. It was just beautiful.
So watch The Gilded Age. I think it's on Masterpiece, is it? Or it's on Channel 9?
HBO.
Oh, okay. So it's an HBO production. So there you go. You can do that instead of stitching, or along with your stitching if you can manage to take your eyes off the screen.
That's right, because the costumes are so beautiful.
Aw. Christine wants to tell us that she's going to be playing with her grandson. Nice. And you're loving the sample.
Oh.
That's good. I haven't heard of colonial knot. You're going to get a little bit more about the colonial knot in a few minutes. So listen in. Okay, Jean? French is a tighter knot than a colonial.
Yes.
Yes, it certainly can be. In fact, the colonial knot was used for candle wicking, and I think that's where it kind of started. It was probably why it's called the colonial knot. It's more or less an American invention of doing a knot that really stands up well.
Absolutely. And it's usually larger than the French knot.
Oh yeah, they actually used like candle wicking wicks.
Oh, to do it. Okay.
Yeah, so you could buy that in a big roll for candles and for making candles, and then they used that, and it was really hard wearing in the washing and all that. So that's where that came from. I'll show you how. Oh no, I'm not going to show you how, because there's going to be videos in this part of the stitch along. There will be videos, links to that in the
our YouTube channel.
Yeah, they're going to be in our Victoria Sampler YouTube channel, but I've made links, in when we post this new part up in the featured area, you'll see those video links there as well. I love doing colonial knots, but can't do French knots to save my life. There are videos for both, so have a good look and see. It's possible you might be able to do them.
They take practice.
They do,
and I think take practice.
I think all knots do.
Yeah, yes, all knots take practice.
So once you got it in your head, you go like this, you do that, and you do that, and have both hands free if you can possibly do so.
That is the key, is working on when you've got the piece stretched in a frame.
Yep. And I know that sometimes you don't have a frame that stands up. I did all the time. But I can value the fact that you may have to hold on to your frame. Well, just lay it on the edge of your table in front of you. Don't put it on your lap. You're going to be fiddling and farting with it around with it. Oops, did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So don't do that, but lay it on the edge of your table and then use both hands if you can. It makes all the difference.
Definitely does.
Ah, Eldon says she's never tried colonial knot.
Yeah, give them a try.
Good idea. Fine. Thank you. I love the idea that people are learning something new in this stitch along. And those of you who have never done a colonial knot, or vice versa, you don't like French, try the ones you don't usually do.
Definitely.
And Brenda Lechlyer says, we're discussing, I love them, she says. Hello, Karen Lark. Welcome and good morning. I know you're just waking up. Kathleen says, I found the French knot easier than the colonial, but a lot of stitchers find it the other way. Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, Katrina, you're saying that you have to double check the instructions. I guess because you kind of forget how to do them to begin with. Is that what you mean? Yeah, I get that. And it's also good to practice them so much that you never forget them.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I don't think I'll forget how to do French knots or colonial knots. And I don't forget how to do bullion knots. It's just the right time of day produces better bullion knots than other times of day.
Well, I found that with the French knots and the colonial knots, because they're done differently, but they have about the same effect. I just found that when I started doing strawberries, for instance, with only knots, and I had to do it over and over and over and over and over, and one right beside the other like that, boy, did I learn fast. If you're just doing one or five, sometimes you just forget then, right? The next time you do one, you go, what was that again?
That's true.
So you might try doing like a big circle of them and seeing. You probably won't forget them after that.
Reminds me, one Christmas, my aunt brought a piece she was stitching on over, and she said, Lisa, can you do French knots? And I said, yeah, I can do French knots. And she goes, hands me this thing, and I said, do you want me to show you how to do French knots? She goes, no. So while we were sitting there visiting, I did the French knots on her piece, and at the end I gave it back. She goes, you're done already? I went, yeah, it was only like half a dozen French knots.
Well, if it's something that you find really difficult to do, I really recommend you do about 100 of them.
Yes.
Seriously, I know it sounds like a lot of trouble and but once you've done the 100th, you are done for life. You can do that one wherever you are.
In your sleep.
Yep. Looks like we've got Beverly Fleming is here.
Yeah. Hi, Beverly.
And Pat Henke says she used to do candle wicking. That's kind of a nice embroidery, and I just loved my mom's candle wicking bedspreads. Loved it. And I always remember going to her guest bedroom and being able to just lay that aside because she had made it. It's just lovely. Yeah. Christine, a friend of mine says, Christine used to have me do her French knots. She never seemed to get the hang of them. Yeah, she didn't do 100 at a time. Yeah. That's the problem. Anyway, I wanted to show you one that's done in silk ribbon.
Yes.
And these are these colonial knots? Yes. These are actual colonial knots, and they're big enough that you can see the effect. This is from the Beyond Cross Stitch, and from the silk ribbon area, or series, which is level 2. And all these are done with colonial knots and silk ribbon. Now, silk ribbon works the same way as any other thread. You have to put your needle on slightly differently. Sorry, I'm losing focus here. You put your needle on the end of silk ribbon slightly differently, but you can see that the knot looks just the same except bigger because silk ribbon is wider than regular thread. So this looks absolutely, if you look at each little thing, that is a colonial knot. And it does look like a little rose, doesn't it? Anyway, so that is the colonial knot. Do we have something here about colonial knots, or is this French knots?
Got the colonial knot over there.
So this, which I found really difficult to understand, is easier to see on my video.
Yes.
Please go and look at the 2 videos, and I show you exactly from the stitcher's point of view how to use your hands.
Yeah.
But this is actually the colonial knot right here. So you make a backward C with your thread, and you put your needle right under the backward C there. And then you take your working thread and you make a little figure 8. That's the essence. So when you look at the videos, you'll see exactly that's what I do. It says colonial knot is one of the surface knots used in embroidery and is most commonly used in candle wicking. A colonial knot forms a tight knot that holds up well to wear and can be worked on any type of embroidery fabric. So we just talked about that. So I don't know why I read this out loud.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I always remember how Yvonne explained how to do a colonial knot. You know, about pretending that your thread is a runway and the plane is coming down the runway and then flips under the runway.
And then you take your other hand.
And then you wrap it around.
And you grab that plane, that runway.
That runway, and wrap it around the other end.
It's funny, there's these little mental gymnastics that we make.
So every time I do a colonial knot, it's like...
Okay, that's funny. That is so cute. Let me see here. Karen Lark says, I've made patchwork candlewick bedspread a few years ago. Wow. That would be so pretty. Sandy, thank you. Patty says, I'm late, but you're here, which counts. French knot was the last lesson my mom taught me. Oh,
very nice.
Pat, that is such a nice thing. I like to hear those things from the past. That is a good memory for you. Rachel says, stunning. Oh, this is the lilacs. Yes.
Yep.
Karen Krause.
Level 2.
Yep. And I think it's level 2, number what?
6, 7?
Number
8.
10.
10. Oh.
See, level 2, number 10. Colonial knot. Thank you, Rachel. And Karen Krause, good morning. Sorry, late to the party. You're always welcome, no matter how late or early you are. So we did see something here about French knots, right?
Just a French knot should be as smooth and round as a bead.
There you go. So you can use a bead the same size.
Yeah.
Or you can make a French knot. And really, they do need to be fairly tight. So remember to always keep, you have another hand, right?
Yeah.
You're doing this you're doing the wrapping. And then once you put your needle back in the fabric, make sure you keep your working thread taut with your other hand before you pull it through.
Yeah.
And that's the secret. That way it'll stay nice and tight.
And I usually put my thumb as I'm pulling.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's another good way.
To hold it in place.
Yeah. By the way, we were looking at these. This is an 18th century embroidery techniques, which I have in my library. And I have the 19th century as well. And I have the 20th century one. These are really good books. Inside, you'll find gorgeous. Here, let me see if I can just find all of the pictures and designs and why they use it, history. For instance, there's a baby's long coat, and there's drawings in there in order for you to make it, designs in here. It's just gorgeous. Not a lot of color plates, but the drawings are so beautiful also. There's some color plates, but also some drawings like this one. And I always find that books like this that have beautiful images or drawings or schematics are my favorite, because I love looking through and just generally getting that feeling that you have when you were looking at the costume drama.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much beauty in the world of needlework. And these are just luscious to just look at. So I hope that that's another nice recommendation. Okay, and what other designs do we have that we're going to show? We've got some that where there are French knots.
Some French knots.
And some colonial knots. You just saw one that had colonial knots.
Sorry, I just need to find it on here.
I think there are French knots in the wreath.
There are, yes. So this is Child of Spring. Let's see if I can get it.
This one's really hard to see because it's all so pale and there, good. Now gradually go up, and you can see the bullion knots, or sorry, the French knots are in the wreath itself, so they're pretty hard to find. If you've got your screen on really big, here, let me just make it so that they can see the rest. There you go. So there's some hardanger down below. If your screen that you're watching this on is very big, then you may have seen the French knots. I'm going to see if you can see it. Okay, can you see that? There, just for a second.
Just for a second. It's the multicolored. And so this is Cottage Garden. It's one of the Victorian gardens. And the French knots are on the vine around the top of the house.
Around here, around the
cottage.
Door. Yeah.
And then it's got some specialty stitches, a little bit of hardanger, and then you got the gate going through to the garden.
So those were French knots.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see them up close. Can you see them? Yep, there they are. Really quite close, actually. That's great. Thank you.
And then this is Spring Garden, and the French knots, of course, are in the tree. They're the blossoms in the tree.
Yep. I'm just holding on to it because where Lisa's sitting, she's using her left hand. And, you know, that's not easy.
It shakes a little bit.
Mine does too, but if you've got it so that you can move it generally, then people can see it a little bit more easily and it doesn't go out of focus. Because I have to use both hands to do this.
And I think the white blooms there are colonial knots.
Yes. You're absolutely right. They're bigger. And the ones at the top are beads. I think there are beads in there.
No, they're white and pink.
White and pink.
Yeah.
French knots at the top. That's right. So you can see they're tightly furled, and these ones at the bottom are quite a bit bigger, but not so you'd notice from far away, of course. And what else do we have here?
Then we have Peaches and Cream, which is one of your earlier designs.
That's one of the earliest, isn't it?
One of the earliest. And I don't know if you can actually see the French knots, but they're little like peach ones. They're hard to see, actually.
Are they amongst the roses?
They are amongst the roses. Let's see if I can... There. Let's see.
There's one right there. There. That's made of wool, isn't it?
It's made of broider wool.
Yeah, a peachy colored, like a darker peach colored wool. And
I think
actually,
this has faded quite a bit. Actually.
And the others have left. See, they've left the building. There's only a few at the top there.
There's only a few.
Yeah, look at that. So there are only just a few here, and they've disappeared here and here. I think because they're wool, and this has actually been around for a fairly long time.
Yeah.
We've seen it for a long time. I think I'm going to have to put those back in.
Yeah.
And even while it's finished, I can do it.
Well, you can do that.
Yes, I think we can do it. Anyway, Peaches and Cream is what this one's called. And we have to make sure that you know what these are called. This one is Spring Garden.
Yeah.
just very applicable right now because we've got our first cherry trees out.
We do.
Not
yes.
here, but down in Victoria.
Oh, are they blooming in
They are
Victoria
blooming.
already? I haven't been down that way for a while.
Well, I just saw it on the news. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense.
The very first ones are out.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of February is when they usually come out. And then this one's Cottage Garden, which you mentioned. And Spring.
Child of Spring.
Child of Spring, not Spring Child.
I did see the daffodil pickers out the other day.
Yes, we have daffodil fields very close by here. So that should be really nice when I go down walking past there. Let's see who else is here. Thank you.
Oh, Rachel's forte is bullion knots, so I think a lot of people might send you their stuff then.
You're going to be very busy. Hello, Barbara Lutamiska. Good to see you. Jennifer says that French knot technique works great if you keep it tight.
Absolutely.
That is the truth. If you don't keep that working thread tight or taut, and then if you don't do that, then it'll loosen up and it very often just like falls apart.
Yeah.
So you just need to keep that little bit tight around the needle, right? When the needle's going in, you put that down and you make sure that's tight. Then you pull the needle through and you keep it taut until you let go at the end.
Yeah, and the other key is to not go down in the same hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please do not go down the same hole. It just doesn't work with these fabrics.
They'll pull right out.
It would work fine if it was a fabric like a cotton or regular quilting cotton or something. Then no problem because it's tightly woven. But our fabric threads in our linens and in our even waves are loosely woven.
Yeah.
So if you try to put it down in the same hole, you are definitely going to disappear the French knots.
Yes.
And fall in the knots.
And this is Tulip Terrace. Love this piece.
This is my little attempt at Dutchness.
Yeah. Yes. And the French knots, of course, there again are on the vine.
Around the door.
Around the door.
Of the little cabin at the bottom.
I like the windmill.
I love that little windmill. And then also the swans in front.
Yes.
And what's really interesting, and my grandfather has done lots of this folk art, a very primitive kind of art. When he would always love being on a farm. And so he ended up farming quite a bit of his life, both in Holland and here. And when he was in Holland, he loved his swans because they'd come to the canals where he had a farm. And so his motto and his whole thing was always around swans. He would have a sign out front of his farm that had a swan on it, for instance. So his whole thing was about swans. I had to put it in there just to
for him
remind myself of his motto. Not motto, but his what do you call that? It's like a symbol. A symbol to him of what it was like to be a farmer and be in Holland as a farmer. Dorothy says, I've done French knots since I was 10 and I'm 75 now. Your mom made you learn them. This is great. And Rachel has also done really well. I just stitched 2 pieces, she said, with huge quantities of French knots.
Yeah.
You learned them.
You'll never forget how to do a French knot.
Exactly. Kathleen says, once I stopped trying to make all my French knots the same, they became easier. Yeah, exactly. Why should they be the same? Stitching can be so much variety.
Absolutely.
Well, often they are flowers, and flowers are not all the same.
Nope, they certainly aren't.
Tulip Terrace is quite lovely. Thank you, Karen. Rachel said, my mom didn't stitch or knit, so jealous of those whose moms did. My mom would not do one thing. She would learn one thing on a huge piece every winter. So she did. She did everything, like all the different crafts and needle crafts. She would knit one year, and she'd knit like not just little baby booties or something. She'd knit this gigantic sweater or Afghan or something. She didn't just do needlepoint, little bit of thing. No, she had to do a piece that was framed later on with a hunter and the whole thing covered with teeny tiny needlepoint stitches. Anyway, she did crocheting and she did all these things, but only in the winter. Because in the summer, you don't have time. You've got to be gardening.
She was busy doing other things.
Yeah. But I know what you mean, Rachel. It is something that, when your mom has done some of these needle crafts that you so much love now, it is a really lovely memory and it makes you feel like you are carrying on. That's her tradition. But Rachel, you must have also seen other people in your life doing this kind of needlework, right? Did you have an aunt or a grandmother who did those kinds of things? Because you get it somewhere, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anybody in your life that did that?
My dad's mom was quite a good sewer, and she did needlework. She hooked rugs and did knitting and crocheting. So she taught me how to knit and crochet when I was probably, I don't know, 6 years old or so.
So were you fascinated with it too?
I was fascinated, yes.
I think as a little girl you tend to be, depending on what kind of girl, unless you're a tomboy. But even tomboys like this stuff.
But my mom, as growing up, didn't sew or knit or do anything like that. It wasn't until after she retired she started stitching. So,
Any of you have any ideas about that? Did you have favorite memories of your parents or your parents? Maybe not your father, but your mom or your stepmom or your aunt or your grandmother. There's always someone that you kind of think, oh yeah, I remember that's what I did when I was with them. And I was always terribly intrigued by anything that was fiddly. Little precise fiddly things of that stuff. Martha Barba, you're in Mexico. Congratulations. There seem to be a number of people in Mexico today. Sylvie, I'm glad you didn't miss us. And thank you for coming and joining us and saying hello. That's really nice. Rachel says, this week I start Frankenstein, a wedding sampler, which will combine at least 3 Victoria samplers, starting with Grateful Heart.
Very nice.
Sounds lovely. So you're going to do them one after the other, or you're just going to use different parts of them?
Different parts, yeah.
I think that's great. Very creative. Pat Henke says, my mom had projects for me because of my disability, everything but knit or crochet. So you did a number of different kinds of things, and I did not know you had a disability, and you would never know when you're here. This is just a wonderful place for you to be because you love needlework so much. Patty says, me too. I was 8. German grandparents, learned crochet, knitting, sewed my own clothes by 11. Oh. Holy mackerel. I could stare at my grandma's fat quarters all day. You know how that sounds a little weird, right? That's funny. Deborah says, my mom taught me embroidery when I was 7. Wow, you guys are really like early. I didn't really do much embroidery until I was like a hippie. I embroidered on my jeans. Let me see. I was always a little jealous of my brother learning to tat from our grandfather. Oh,
very nice.
Tatting is like really lot of little knots, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of like macrame, but small.
Yeah, tiny. Wow, that would be something. Doris Davis's grandmother did stamped embroidery and taught me how to do it. Oh, what good memories. I love the idea of learning tatting, though. Rachel says, still jealous. Yeah, I can understand that. Patty says, laughing out loud, when my grandmother was visiting from England, she taught me to knit. My mom was always sewing, and I think I just wanted to do what she was doing, but I don't remember learning. I'm the only one of my siblings who does any needlework. Ooh. And you do beautiful needlework, Kathleen. So
I must say that my sister is not interested in needlework whatsoever.
And neither is my brother.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
My sister, however, loves to cook, and I hate cooking. So
And my brother loves playing the guitar in his bands.
Yeah.
Susan Hyde says, no one in my family stitched, but I stitched aged 5 at school. Wow. Mom taught me to knit, and I taught her to crochet. Well, cute.
Yeah.
Dorothy says, I can tat.
Yeah.
You guys, you're just so creative.
Absolutely.
And so multi-talented. And Patricia's also tats. My mom used to do a lot of cross stitch, and when her arthritis got bad, she passed her stash to me.
Very nice.
Amber, that must have been just a treasure for you. I think I'm going to take off my sweater.
You're going to take off your sweater? You're warm? You want some help with that?
Yes. I have to just have this off now suddenly. I don't know what happened. I think I might have a flash.
You're warming up?
Anyway, I think this is coming to the end of our little session.
We've got a couple of other ones there too.
Yeah, actually, I do want to show you this one because this one has some French knots in. Yep,
right there.
There. What's this? Are these colonial knots? Exactly. And there. So there's a lot of flowers in this one because there's a lot of bees in this one. So see if you can find the French knots versus the colonial knots. That's the top of the Babe's Honey Farm. Those yellow ones, I know they're colonial knots. And the fact is that the colonial knots, I think they're also over here with the lupins. And then there are the little heart's ease over top of the honey beehive. And then you can see some more over on this side. Like this one is completely full. There's also some right there. This one's completely full of French knots and colonial knots. And I just used the ones that were the size I wanted. Sometimes I want a colonial knot that's very small, and I just use one strand, or a French knot that's very small. Just use one strand and see, and just one whip around. Those are really tiny, and they can do miracles depending on what kind of effect you want.
Exactly. And even using a smaller needle.
Will make a difference.
Will make a difference.
Make quite a difference, actually. Yeah, because if you use a big needle with a small thread, you're going to get a kind of a loopy French knot, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. Rachel's laughing like crazy. My grandmother sewed and knit, says Carol. I may not have her teach me, but I must have absorbed it because I can do it now.
Oh.
When I was in my 20s, I taught myself how to cross stitch and just kept going from there.
Yeah.
Aw. Oh, I think there was another story here from Kathleen. When we were waiting for our quarters to be ready at Fort Knox, my girls and I were stitching, and my son wanted to try, so I started him on an easy bookmark. He just told me that it would be easier if he just did one big cross. It's true. Rachel says your nails are gorgeous.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. They're time to cut them down a little bit.
Her nails are the best.
Yeah,
honestly.
they grow really fast.
She could be like a hand model. You know, the way her hands are. They're elegant, long,
thank
fingered.
You. Yeah, my husband calls them spider fingers.
He should stop saying that. They're not. They're gorgeous. Susan Hyde says, what I would really love to learn is bobbing lace. I think that would be a super thing to learn when you're in the, what did you call that? The hurricane.
Yeah.
Just go online and learn it. That's so funny. Ellen says her mother taught her to knit. She also did embroidery and made my dresses when I was young.
Very nice.
Oh. Lynn said my grandmother used to buy the printed tablecloths and napkins. Yes, actually, I remember doing that vaguely.
Yeah,
that's true.
I do as well.
I don't think I liked it much because I didn't like it that there was a pattern there.
There was already something there.
I don't know. I think when I was a very young child, I didn't like it having to follow the rules. Yeah. No, I want my rules. Anyway, that's funny.
Didn't like coloring within the block, did you?
I didn't like coloring other people's designs at all either. I didn't like coloring books. I wanted to draw my own design and then color that in. That's very typical. What else? I can tack. I don't think there's anything else. Amber, Lynn. Yes, okay, there we go. There's the bobbing lace and gorgeous nails. Okay, so I'm just going over some of the text because it just keeps going when there's other people that are saying things, which is great, but I lose track of where we are. I think that's it. Yes, Rachel's laughing. Anyway, we were at the end, and I think I will leave it now after the Babe's Honey Farm, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that includes that one, so we're going to put that on our list. That'll be good. Oh, right. You guys absolutely have to see the this week's stitch along pattern, which will be wonderful. And also I'm going to show you our choice, actually Lisa's choice for our auction this week. I'll show you that first. Okay, here, you can use that. I had this all nicely
tied.
I did. It was all tied, and now it's all not tied.
Nicely tie it,
afterwards?
Afterwards.
Okay. So it is the Where Stitchers Gather needle pocket with scissor fob,
needle book, and scissor case.
That's correct. So this whole set will be up for auction this week. And it has some beautiful stitching on the back. And as you can see, it has the Victoria Sampler on the back, which makes it kind of special because we didn't do that with other things. This is the only one that we have with the words Victoria Sampler on it. So I hope that this is something that those of you who love fine stitching will really enjoy. And don't forget, these ties that we have on here, because this was a model that was used for, not used, but was seen by a number of people, we've kept this extremely tidy and neat, except for the little ribbons. So you may need to replace the ribbons, although these ribbons are still perfectly fine.
Still fine. You may need to iron them a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And then inside, you'll see all this beautiful Dupioni silk in burgundy silk that Lisa made this pocket out of. She did such a beautiful job. This is a finisher's dream. Seriously, this is so gorgeous. And look at that. The hardanger at the back has the same Dupioni silk in behind, so you can see it very well. And the back of the scissor fob has Dupioni silk as well. And inside the book,
it has the silk, and then it has a beautiful burgundy wool felt for your needles.
For your needles, so that they don't rust.
And then, of course, the scissor case.
Even has the same Dupioni silk inside. Can you believe it? This is going to be a very special auction, so I hope that you're all ready for that this spring. Yep. And yes, Rachel says you really did a stunning job.
Thanks, Rachel.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, everyone. Oh, Deanne Pierce Cataldi said something.
Yep.
Which I don't remember seeing your name before, but
welcome.
So welcome. So glad you spoke up. On Wednesday, my mom and I taught 45 high school students how to sew on a button and simple hemming. Wow, it was so much fun, and maybe we will get some interested in stitching.
Very nice.
Very good. I think that sounds like a plan. I've not heard of anything like that being taught in schools.
Yeah, I don't think they have home ec anymore in schools.
Not the same as when we were younger.
No.
Wow. Norma says, I just came across my very first embroidery piece from when I was 6. Wow. Anyway, all of you, thank you for all of your contributions and for joining us here. And here is the last, don't worry. And here is the last, the second to last, because there's going to be another one next week, I think.
Yes.
Is there another part of next week in February?
Yes.
Okay, so February still goes to next Friday.
Yes.
So there's going to be another part to February's pieces, and this one is part 7 of the entire sampler. And so it finishes like this. There's a little person sitting by a pond with another little tree overhead, and of course there's their little dog. Now you can make your own little dog or your own colors, or you can make it a cat, depending on whether you're a dog person or a cat person. I challenge you to make it either your colors or a dog or a cat. So we'll see if you personalize your piece any differently than the way I've made it here. They're sitting in the grass. It is springy weather, and so I hope you enjoy this week's Stitch Along. Thank you very much. The class was called Adult Responsibility. Thanks for a great ending. Oh, that is so good.
Funny.
Yep, I love that, especially the responsibility part. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to you too, Susan Hyde. Those of you in the UK, take care in the hurricane.
Yep, absolutely. Stay warm, stay inside, and stay stitching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Very good advice for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Have a wonderful week. See you next week.
And until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.